All right, so I have you muted. Welcome to our half-hour mad hour power hour, and we're just going to dive in. So the first thing I want to do is there's a couple people this month in our group that kind of broke out. It was their first month of really trying to do this for like 1.5 months, and both of them, I feel like they didn't ask a ton of questions. They just dove in. And sometimes that's the best way to learn, is just dive in, you get your feet dirty, get your hands dirty, and you learn as you go. But both had great success. And Kelly Casey was one. She did fantastic. And she did it in a way that with Zoom, like I think every bit of it was with Zoom. And then another person was Angela Balknight, and I don't think she's on here. She does swim lessons during the day, but Angela did it completely different than Kelly Casey. She does things more on the phone or talking to people one-on-one, and Zoom is just not her beast. And so I thought that was really awesome, because even in a time of quarantine, we had two people doing it two different ways, their own way, and both of them did fantastic. One enrolled 9 people and one enrolled 5 people, just reaching out to their network. And so we'll hear from Kelly Casey in a few minutes. So congrats, and just excited about that. The products we're going to talk about today, and I may have eventually, I'm going to text somebody and say, hey, you're going to be on. Would you mind talking about this? And that way we can hear another voice besides mine. I think you guys hear mine way too much. MondayPHImmortelle is free this month with a 200 PV order. That is an oil that I got for free the first time, and I've never had to pay for it again because it lasts forever. And every time I've either got it with points or gotten it free on another promotion, and it's the anti-aging blend. I'm going to read through the book, and then if you guys have a testimony, feel free to share it, because stories sell, information tells. And so the more we can learn other people's stories, we can incorporate them, all their testimonies, into our classes, and those are going to be powerful for you. So MondayPHImmortelle is regenerating, youthful, and replenishing. The top uses by far is for skincare, and skincare is like $1 billion industry, multi-billion dollar industry. So even if we took doTERRA and went into that niche and only talked to people about health of skincare, we probably would do really well in it. It's great for wrinkles and fine lines, and we apply it to the neck, the face, and even the hands. You can put it on skin, get skin damaged skin or skin cancer. And it says apply to the affected area to promote renewal and healing. And you can see right here, I'm from Florida, and I used to have a really dark spot right here. And the more I use the skincare, which has the sandalwood and the rose in it, it's lightening. And I've been putting MondayPHImmortelle below my makeup every time, and so I can tell the little spots are lessening. Scars and stretch marks. You also can put it on scars and stretch marks. Blemishes, you can put it on your face for blemishes. You would put it directly on, and if it's a little too potent, you can split the roller in half and make 2 rollers. Tension and mood balance. Apply to the heart, the back of the neck, forehead, and pulses, or under the nose. We're going to talk about mood in just a second, but that's just telling you where to apply it, right? Apply under the nose for meditation. It has sandalwood. All these oils in here are the frankincense, Hawaiian sandalwood, lavender, myrrh, helichrysum, and rose would be great for grounding. And it also says it's great for cataracts. And I think my mother-in-law might use this for eyes. I can't remember what she used, but she did use something around her eyes. You're on here. You have to tell us. And it says add 1 to 2 drops in a capsule 1 to 2 times a day. So you'd actually open it up and use a dropper. And you can put it under the 2nd and 3rd toes. That's reflexology. For cataracts, that's for cataracts. Now, it says you can, first of all, this is a lot less expensive than if someone were to go out and want to buy all of the oils that are in here. So this is a great way for someone to get these oils and get all of the benefits without having to buy all the individual oils in the beginning. And it's not diluted. So that's something to remember. And when I mentioned splitting it into 2 rollers, I don't have sensitive skin, but we have someone on our team who does have sensitive skin, and she wrote me and said that she did this. She splits it in 2, and she adds either coconut oil or jojoba oil. Anybody have a testimony or a question about MondayPHImmortelle?
It's also great on your fingernails.
Mm.
The pads, the tops of your fingernails for like hangnails and things. It keeps them real smooth.
Oh, good to know. Nice for skin. So great for skincare, right? Great for skincare. So that's a good idea. I like to massage. I was using Balance the other day on my fingers, so that would be a good one to try. So it's good. It does say it's safe for neat application. So if you don't have sensitive skin, it's great for just putting directly on. Now, I mentioned telling you something else about emotions, right? Well, I use the Essential Life book. I love the Essential Life book, and I think giving it to a customer is an invaluable tool because when you browse something, you learn a lot more than if you were just to search for something specific on the internet, right? So I do have an app, like the Essential Life app, and that is good for if I know I need something specific to find it really quickly. But there's also an Essentials Emotions app, and so I'm going to look up the specific oil and tell you guys what it says. All right, it says disconnected spiritually, burdened, discouraged, spiritual darkness, night of the soul, dark night of the soul, hopeful, transforming, faith, grace, and still. So if those are the things you need to address, you would just apply it to, just breathe it in, put it on where all the places where it said to put it in: the forehead, the heart, the bottom of the toes, the back of the neck, pulse points. And it's going to help because MondayPHImmortelle has the power of higher vibration oils that allow our body to work better. And that higher vibration in our cells is going to, in turn, bring about a more positive state. Positive state meaning faith, hope, gratitude, kindness, love, patience, and trust. So it's great for meditating. So if you feel like those are the things you want to lean towards, then you just breathe it in and be quiet for a few minutes. Okay, so that's helpful in case you have someone struggling with that. All right, the next thing we're gonna talk about is our basic things that I wanted Casey to mention. And so Kelly, I really don't, it doesn't really matter whatever you want to share with us, but that's specifically how you've been reaching people and then doing classes on Zoom and then even connecting and how you're enrolling after. Do you want to share that?
Yes. So you want me to start with how I've been connecting with them? Is
Sure.
that what you asked? Mostly through Facebook Messenger, which has kind of been nice because as I go through my list and then need to add more names to that list, using the one method has been nice because I can go back and I know, like, if I start to reach out to the same person again and I see, oh, I already sent them that message. So I feel like I'm not harassing my family and friends by asking them multiple times, like, will you host? Because that's been a hurdle for me, getting over like those initial excuses of, oh, she's busy, or she's not going to want to spend the money, or, you know, just those things that we tell ourselves. But mostly once I can get a friend to host and then they do, and then connecting during the class, having them come back onto Zoom that night has been nice because I will share my screen with them and then walk them through the enrollment process. But I've added some of the other like follow-up steps during that initial enrollment. So when we go in and pick the enrollment kit, they can see me add that to the cart. And then as we're talking about, like, you picked a kit that doesn't have Digest Zen, and digestion was one of the things that you mentioned as your priority, then I will show them, like, this is how much it'll cost if you add that additional oil. If you're not okay with that price, then we'll go ahead and put that off mentally to the side as our first LRP. And then I'll walk through the next steps. And then when we get to the point where we're talking about shipping, like, I'll ask them, is this date okay? Or do you want to upgrade your shipping? And then before we move on to the payment screen, we'll go ahead and look at that date and schedule their wellness consults right there before we even submit, so that they know we're going back to that. And then once I get them all the way through, I'll even let them pick their password, or I just have a standard one that I suggest for them. Once we go all the way through and submit, you're still logged into their account. So then that's when I'll show them, hey, while we're here, we have that wellness consult. We can talk about it then if you get overwhelmed. Don't worry about writing all of this down. I'll remind you. But while we're here and we're sharing the screen, I want to show you the difference between creating a new order and creating your LRP. And then we have, depending on how overwhelmed they are to the responses, if they're good about me going ahead and explaining the LRP, then we go over it. If not, then I set it up and I'll say, hey, I'm just going to put this here. I'll make a note for myself that when we do your wellness consult, we'll go in here and edit if you want, or delete it if you're uncomfortable with it. But we go ahead and set up the LRP with like the Digest Zen or whatever oil they didn't get in their kit. Or if they got everything that they wanted in their kit, then I'll ask them, like, which oil do you think you're going to use most often? And we'll just put like a replacement for peppermint or whatever one they say that they think they're going to use most often. And then I'll just explain. So when you're ready to replace your oils, because you're going to use them that frequently, this is the best way to do it. And then we talk about them getting their points and shipping points and whatnot.
That's awesome. Yeah, I like that. Thank you. Did anyone have a question or like want some clarification? So it's recorded. So if you have questions or you want to hear it again, definitely watch again. These I can pretty much upload directly after into our business group. So they'll be in there in a feed. I like that you said that you waited if they were overwhelmed. You didn't just keep plowing through, and that's an awareness thing. So if they are, you could just schedule it for later, and that's perfectly fine. And I also like that you went ahead and started the LRP, because it keeps you accountable, and that makes them like, okay, I have to get with her, right? And so that creates a sense of urgency. And the oil I always put in there is lemon. I'm like, everybody needs lemon. Everybody should be using it every single day in their water. And it seems like it's not intimidating because it's $11. So that's the one I had used before. But I love that you keyed it into what is their specific oil or which one do they think they'll use the most. So I appreciate that. All right, guys, that's it. That is it for our power hour, and we aren't going to keep you any longer. I love you guys. I'm excited for you. This is a brand new crazy month. We're already 8 days in, and we have some product and continuing education. So Monday nights, I put it in the group, and feel free to share with your friends, okay? All right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye.